Hey everyone, today we are going to be drawing scraps from a corpse bride. So let's get started. You guys know the drill. We're going to start off with our reference circle. Then from this reference circle, we're going to add his like snout area. So I'm going to add just kind of a little triangle extending outward. So it's going to look like a little beak. But I want to kind of flatten out the top a little bit since that's the way his snout is laid out. And remember to keep these reference lines super light if you're drawing in pencil. And now I'm going to go through and just kind of extend this circle into more of an oval shape. He's got a skull, so it's a little longer in the back. All right, so now I'm just gonna go through and kind of darken out this outer layer here. This is like the top of his skull, so I really want this part to stand out. Then for his little snout part, you're just gonna curve this triangle. And connect it back to the original circle. And I left this part not filled in because I want to add the eye before I do so. So just to add that eye, I'm just going to add a little oval here. Because I want to make the skull like pop out a little bit to kind of define the eye. So I'm just going to make it pop up a little bit around that eye. All right, and then I'm gonna add the second eye. So I'm just gonna add that second eye kind of right in the middle of our original circle. And it's a Tim Burton character, so his eyes are gonna be pretty big. Then I'm gonna give it some eyebrows. I keep saying it's a scraps, it's scraps, give scraps some eyebrows. And then same thing on the other side. And then some cheekbones. So I'm just gonna kind of drag up a little C shape. Make him look like he's smiling a little. I'm gonna erase this reference so you guys can see that. Now I'm gonna go through and add his jaw. So I'm gonna start off by adding a little triangle shape. And the jaw is gonna end the same like line. If you imagine a horizontal line under the end of the skull, that's gonna end the same place as the jaw. So they're gonna sit on the same line. And then this line is extending out kind of towards the end of the snout area. Then I'm gonna add pretty much the same line on the other side, just kind of close that off. I'm gonna add a straight line there to close it. Give it some perspective. Next, I'm gonna just kind of use the same exact line on the inside to give it some depth, make it look like there's a bone there. It's not just floating lines in space. I actually kind of want to extend it out a little bit. So I'm just gonna open up his mouth a little more. There we go, that's more aligned. Could not see if it was actually aligned with the snout. So now this is the jaw. I'm gonna go through, add some teeth. So I'm just gonna add some triangles all along here. Then I'm gonna add his little nostrils. And then I'll just kind of darken in those eyes. And to make it look like these are actually sunken into his skull, I'm gonna shade them in, concentrating my shading kind of on the leftmost part of the eye. But you could just kind of fill it in completely if you want. And then that is it for the face pretty much. I'm also gonna go through and just kind of shade that skull area. I honestly want to extend it a little farther as well. I'm just never happy. Just keep fixing it. That's the good thing about drawing, is that you can fix it as you go. All right, so that is his head. Now we're gonna move on to his body. So to start, I'm just gonna add 2 lines right in the middle here. So where we have our jaw and our skull intersecting, I'm just gonna add his neck. Now I'm gonna add his collar, and to do that, I'm gonna add kind of like a little halo shape around his neck. If you remember from the movie, his collar is like way too big for him because it was made for when he was not a skeleton. So you can make it as big as you want, you can make it fitted, up to you. But I'm gonna make it kind of this size. Then to finish off that collar, I'm gonna add 2 lines going straight down either side. And then trace that original halo shape on the bottom to connect them. And close off the collar. Then I'll just color in the other side so it's obvious that it is something else. Not the same side. Okay, so now we can move on to the body. So for the body, I'm gonna start off just by adding a little circle. And this is where his rib cage is gonna go. Or this is more of an oval, and it's slanted a little bit this on that angle. So to get started, I'm gonna throw on his shoulder blade. That way it'll be easier to go through and add the little rings. So to do that, I'm gonna add a little triangle right up here. Super stretched out triangle, kind of touching his collar. And then add some lines, going straight in. And then finish it off with a similar triangle on the bottom. Then connected to that, I'm gonna add a little backward C shape and a line coming straight down. Then a curved line on the other side. We're drawing bones. Curved line at the bottom. And another curved line. You can make these bones really however you want. Any way you draw bones is totally fine by me. Then I'm going to add a C shape at the bottom of that. Another line extending down. And another line extending down. Then I'm going to round that off. And now you have a bunch of bones. His arms are a bunch of bones. And I'm just going to make his little paw. Little circle. All right, so that is the frontmost arm bone. Now we're going to go through and add our rib cage. So to start off, I'm just going to add a big letter U. Then to kind of add some depth to that, I'm going to trace that little line on the inside and connect it back to that original line. Then I'm going to take another line, following the shape of that other line. So it should look like there's the other half of the bones. This is like a twisting bone. Then we're just going to keep doing that. So I'm going to add the second one, kind of right down below. You're going to follow the shape, that oval shape that we originally added, so they're all going to kind of like curve that way. Add that second line. Connect it to the original one. Add a second line on the inside. I'm just going to keep doing it. All right, so now we have a bunch of rib cages, and you can, bring the rib cage up all the way around. I just don't like the way it looks. So if you want to make it look like he is totally see-through, you can carry those ribs on all the way up, but I will not be doing that in mine. Anyways, so now I'm going to go through and add the spinal cord. So the spinal cord is just going to be a bunch of little segments of this shape. 2 lines facing inwards. I think this is a concave line. Yeah. So a little concave shape. And then at the top and bottom, it's just going to be little ovals. And you're just going to do that again and again. So 2 little lines curving in, add an oval. 2 little lines curving in, add an oval. You're just going to keep doing that, following this shape, which I will draw for you. So from here, we're going to go down. That's where the hip bones are going to go. I'll just draw them on there. And then you're gonna add the tail, that's also spine, part of the spine. It's gonna go in this shape. I mean, you can make it go in whatever shape you want, but that's the shape I'm gonna put mine in. So I'm gonna start that right after this shoulder blade. So then once you've gotten to kind of this hip bone area, then we're gonna do a very similar shape as the shoulder blade here. So I'm gonna start off with a little bit more of a stretched out triangle. And then just kind of drag it down. And then close it off. Same thing on the other side, just a little triangle. Down. Just gonna kind of connect the two, but we're not really gonna finish it off because the bone of the leg is gonna kind of seal off that area. So now I'm gonna finish off the spine, since we had a little break there with the hip bone. Now I'm gonna finish off the spine and go into the tail. And then the last part of the tail was just a little upside down U. All right, so we are in the home stretch. We just have 3 more legs to go, the hind legs and then 1 front leg. I'll do the front leg first. So just kind of starting wherever you want, from whatever rib you want. We're not going to be drawing the other side. We're only going to see this part, this bottom part. I'm just going to add 2 lines down. Connect the 2, finish them off. Then we're going to do the exact same thing we did on this leg here. So I'm going to start off with the letter C. Then connect it down, or drag the line down. Backwards letter C on the other side. Drag the line down. And just kind of curve it off. And then give them a little foot. Little circle. So then now onto the legs, pretty much, you know, similar bone vibe. I'm going to start off with the letter C and drag a straight line, cutting off the bottom part of that hip bone. Just drag it all the way here and then close it off with a curve. Bring a little intermediate bone down. And then drag 2 lines up. And that foot kind of got cut off, but I'll draw it on the next one. You can, you know, extend that to wherever you want. But now same exact thing. I'm just going to drag a line out, 2 lines out, make 1 big bone. This is also kind of cut off by the other arm. Intermediate bone, 2 lines down. And just kind of keep extending it. End it with a curve, and again, just kind of add a little foot there. He's just sitting down. He's just being a good dog. All right, so that is it. I'm gonna go through, add some shading, just to kind of finish it off, but that is Scraps from Corpse Bride. So I'm just gonna shade kind of all these little back areas. Little bottom areas. Neck area, the collar. I'll shade his bones. I'm really just throwing random lines on there. Okay, so that is it. Thank you guys so much for joining, and I will see you in class. Bye.